Hello and welcome to my Battle for Azeroth dungeon guide. In this video we are looking at the Temple of Sethraliss on normal mode. Starting the dungeon, you will have to deal with a few trash packs. These packs aren't very difficult, just keep an eye out for Wind Whisperers as they will try and heal up their allies. When you get close to the first boss, you will also encounter some Sand Fury Stonefist trolls. They are not overly threatening, but they will do a ground pound that does a small knockback which interrupts any casts, which can make it frustrating to heal or deal damage. The first boss is Azeroth and Aspix. They have a unique mechanic of having a lightning shield that randomly transfers between them and empowers the boss with the shield by giving them access to new abilities. Whichever boss has the lightning shield will deal nature damage to anyone who attacks them. Whichever boss does not have the lightning shield will use wind-based attacks instead. Aspix will always start the fight with the lightning shield, and he will cast a jolt that deals a small amount of damage to his target, but this can be interrupted. After reaching 50 energy, Aspix will cast Conduction. This puts a circle around a player that deals damage to them and anyone else within 8 yards after 5 seconds. At 100 energy, Aspix will then cast Static Shock. This sends out a ring of electricity which deals damage to all players. While not empowered, Azeroth will just spend the entire time fighting the tank and casting Cyclone Strike, which sends out those tornadoes that you see, which will just deal damage to any players they hit. Unfortunately, our group killed Azeroth before he was able to get the lightning shield, but I will quickly cover his abilities. Similar to the Jolt cast from Aspix, he will do an interruptible cast that deals damage to his target. At 50 energy, he will cast a Peal of Thunder which deals massive damage to anyone within 15 yards, so you will need to run away from it. Finally, at 100 energy he will cast Arc Dash, which causes him to teleport to a target location, dealing damage to any players along the way. It is best to spread out to minimize any incoming damage from this ability. After the first boss, you will need to run down a narrow pathway while dodging the arrows being shot at you, which are represented by the swirling circles on the ground. Once you get to the second boss, there are a few groups of trash that you will need to kill to spawn the boss. When the Faithless Tenders get low, they will try to run to an egg and drain it to regain some health. Once the trash is cleared, Merictha, the second boss, will spawn, and one of the first things she will do is a Noxious Breath. This causes her to turn towards a random player and begin casting. At the end of the cast, she spews out a lot of poison that will lay on the floor, dealing damage to anyone who stands in it. At some point, she will also burrow underground, moving around the area, dealing damage and knocking back players she comes into contact with, much like Corboris in the Stonecore dungeon. She will also hatch some smaller snake adds. The venomous Ophidians need to be picked up by the tank and kited with the help of any other CC available from your group to prevent them from applying their hard-hitting poison dot to the tank. Although we didn't see the Serengis Serpent ad in this video, they will create a dust cloud around themselves that prevents anyone outside of the cloud from attacking them, so to deal any damage you will need to move into the cloud to damage them, as the cloud follows them wherever they go. The final thing to look out for is the Blinding Sand ability that Merictha will cast. This deals damage to all players and disorientates anyone facing her, so when she begins to cast this ability, you need to face away. After the second boss, you will get to these rotating orbs, and as they move, a gap will open up, allowing you a brief moment to get through. If you get hit, then you will take a lot of damage and get knocked back. As you move down to the third boss, you will once again have to clear the trash to make him spawn. Galvast is the third boss, and he is quite simple. As you can see, he has an energy bar next to his health frame on the right side of the UI. Throughout the fight, pillars will erupt from the ground and channel power to the boss, granting him energy. Players can and should stand in the beam to prevent the boss gaining energy, but doing so will cause you to take increasing damage, so make sure to let your stacks drop before soaking the beam again. If he reaches 100 energy, he will cast Consume Charge, which deals a large amount of damage to all players and gives them a stack of Capacitance, which increases his damage by 30%. His only other ability is Induction, which deals damage to all players, and the damage is increased for each stack of Capacitance. After Galvast, you will encounter some more orbs that you need to get through. After doing so, you will be in a large room with a lot of enemies and some orbs. These enemies do very little damage and will respawn very fast after dying. The goal here is to pick up an orb and bring it to the skull at the back of the room to unlock the door. This is easier said than done because whoever carries the orb is slowed, and these guardians will often take the orb off the player and start carrying it back to where it was, so you will need to kill them and pick it up again. Next, you just need to clear a bit more trash to get to the final encounter. The final boss is unusual by dungeon standards because there isn't an actual boss per se, there is an Avatar of Sethraliss NPC suspended in the air that your healer needs to heal to full health to finish the encounter. During the encounter, some adds will spawn that will try and prevent the NPC from being healed. The Hexers will channel a stackable debuff on the avatar that reduces their healing taken by 20% per stack. Some Heart Guardians will also attack your group. They will do a Heart Strike which deals a large amount of damage to all players in a wide arc in front of them. When a Heart Guardian dies, they drop an energy fragment that can be picked up, and doing so will heal the avatar for a small amount. Throughout the entire encounter, the Heart of Sethraliss will regularly do a pulse which applies a moderate damage over time effect to all players that cannot be dispelled. This concludes the Temple of Sethraliss dungeon guide. If you enjoyed this video, then feel free to subscribe for more Battle for Azeroth content.